EduTechGuys present a conversation from our live coverage of FETC in Orlando, Florida on Wednesday, January 24th, 2018. Enjoy the program.
Hi everyone, my name is Hee Jin Bang. I am the Director of Research and Strategic Learning at Classroom Inc. We are a nonprofit edtech company based in New York City. Our signature game or product is a series of digital games called Read to Lead.
Okay.
It places students in the role of the boss in workplace settings. And the aspect that I'd really like to focus on for this conversation is the part that sort of gets missed out in describing our program. I think what distinguishes our program is that it not only addresses reading and writing skills, literacy skills, but what you need to do to apply them. So life and career skills is how we define them.
Okay.
So the way we think about life and career skills is 5 different interrelated skills.
Okay.
Decision making, problem solving, critical thinking, self-direction and initiative, and leadership and collaboration. And the reason that we focus on this is that there is an annual survey that is done by the National Association for Colleges and Employers, and they consistently rank 5 skills as the top 5 skills that employers look for. They are problem-solving skills, ability to work in a team, communication skills, both written and oral, as well as leadership.
Yeah.
And the reason that we focus on the life and career skills is even though we recognize the fundamental role of education being helping students read and write, the ultimate goal really is to create individuals who can apply those skills to think, to communicate, and to contribute to society.
Sure.
And the most essential skill that we believe we need to address in the game is decision making, because it's something that we all have to do throughout our lives. It's from very simple things to what are you going to work, or should I go play my game or do my homework, for example.
Right.
And it's a skill that can be taught early on.
Yeah.
And it should be taught early on because it needs a lot of practice and experience for the students to become skilled in that skill. Skilled in decision making, rather. And a closely related skill is problem solving. It's the method by which decisions are made, and it's the mental process that includes identifying the problem, specifying the underlying causes to the problem, gathering the facts and differentiating them from opinions, and shaping the problem to map them onto possible solutions.
Okay.
And then solving problems effectively requires critical thinking. And it's the ability to actively conceptualize and apply and analyze and synthesize and evaluate information. It's a self-guided and self-disciplined thinking because it requires individuals to minimize their personal opinions or biases while using the principles to analyze and assess and improve their reasoning. And then implied in critical thinking is self-direction and initiative. I mentioned that critical thinking is a self-guided thinking. And in our Read to Lead series, students are engaged in self-directed learning. Because students are the managers of their learning process. They are charged with setting their own goals and pace. The game adapts to their level. And in that setting, students not only take charge of their own learning, but they have to practice leadership and collaboration because they assume the role of the boss, and they have to work with their staff members to make important decisions and solve real-life problems while critically thinking about all the information that are presented to them.
Sure.
And that's the way that we think about the 5 interrelated skills in Read to Lead. And if you have time, I also wanted to share a couple of quotes from students who have used our program.
Oh, cool.
And that
great.
speak directly to these 5 skills that I just mentioned.
Okay.
So here's a 9th grader from New York City. She says, "In life, there are so many decisions you have to make, and some are wrong, right, or just okay. In the game, you're the boss and in control. And you have to make decisions for yourself and your company. Sometimes I would make the wrong one, and I would learn from that. like this is what you don't do. And I take that to real life and remember that these are the things you don't do in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another student from New York City, this is an 8th grader, speaks to problem solving. Read to Lead taught me problem solving and determination. As a boss, you won't like some things, but you will have to do them to make things right, like being harsh with employees, because things need to get done, even if it hurts someone's feelings.
Wow.
And this is a quote that speaks to self-direction. After the Storm, which is one of our Read to Lead games, After the Storm makes me want to read nonfiction books more and read or write about nonfiction. I like nonfiction because it will give us updates on what's going on and about our history. We can read articles, and that's nonfiction. Sometimes I'll go online and read the articles from the New York Times that talk about politics. And from the past, I read books on presidents, biographies, autobiographies. So I read more nonfiction now.
Yeah.
So she's actively choosing certain things that she wants to gain knowledge from.
Sure.
And her 2 quotes about leadership. One 6th grader in New York City says, as a boss, you have to give each person the chance to be a leader.
Oh, wow.
That's a good one.
Holy cow. Did it say what grade that?
This is 6th grader.
6th grade.
6th grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know leaders who don't know that. Wow.
And then here's another student. This one is an 8th grader, also from New York City. And she talks about a class discussion that she had based on one of the one of the game episodes. She said, we talked about being around different kinds of people, how no one has to see the things that you do the way that you do, but we have to tolerate them. You won't like everyone and you won't connect with everyone, but you have to try to do the best you can and work with people regardless of their point of view.
Wow. That's awesome.
Well, it shows that using Read to Lead, they've learned to formulate their quotes and figure out what they want to say about it. And that shows the effectiveness of the program and the outcomes that you're trying to achieve with it.
Exactly.
That's really nice. That's really nice.
And I think that's what really distinguishes our program from a lot of digital games. Also, those games that purely focus on reading and writing skills.
Right.
Yeah. That's really awesome.
Yeah. This is so much more than just reading and writing skill and drill. This is real world application in those 5 areas that you're talking about that are addressed with the program. I mean, that's awesome.
Well, and for English language learners, this helps to build confidence and push forward, which they need coming into an English system.
You're absolutely right.
Yep.
And speaking about English language learners, the thing that I'm an English language learner, by the way. The thing that I think is especially valuable for them being immersed in a professional workplace setting is that it gives them a feel for what the culture of a workplace like in the U.S.
Yeah.
And that's not something that they can glean from classroom interaction.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Not at all.
Native English-speaking students don't get that. I mean, seriously,
That's exactly right.
We don't. That's not something we learn in school. A lot of times, and especially the students who don't go to college, they don't go for higher ed. They go straight into the workforce, or maybe they're in the workforce while they're still in school.
Right.
And that's on the job. You try to figure out. You sort of kind of figure out how the corporate culture works, and this helps them get into that before they actually get into that. That's
that
wonderful.
lead step.
And speaking to that, you just reminded me of something that a lot of students have told us. And this is backed by research as well. One of the reasons that make Read to Lead work is that it is based in real life. And a lot of students that we serve from disadvantaged communities, they don't necessarily have the opportunity in real life to go into an internship or an office setting where they can observe these kinds of interactions or problems.
Sure.
And some people might say that why not just go into an office and, it's easy to observe it, and why is a simulation better than the real life experience? But if you think about a simulated experience, it allows you to make mistakes and to learn from them. And you can set your own pace, and you can manage the level of complexity, and you actually have the chance to do a do-over, which you don't necessarily have in real life.
Right.
So I think that's those are 2 reasons the simulated experience and the real life problems that really engage students. And if you go into the games also, you'll see characters in the game. They are very, very diverse. They are reflective of the students that we serve.
Sure.
And it's a way of mirroring themselves in the game. There's a concept, social mirroring. So you can imagine yourself in the role of the characters and model your behavior and language according to what they say and do. And it also gives them aspirations about what they might do as a future professional.
Yeah. Well, and we know in this generation with cosplay and what happens in the world of gaming, this generation relates to a virtual element and can take it as a role model and say, I'm going to emulate this same thing. Like I said, like we see when we go to cosplay things, and everyone likes to dress up. But let's teach you to dress up in a leadership role. Let's teach you to do that. I think it's wonderful. I know yesterday you had a session, and did that go well? Did you have a good time?
It did.
Awesome.
It did. And some of the comments that came from the audience about how they might use the program was enlightening for us as well. I mean, we do serve a lot of students in the after-school program settings, but more and more teachers who are serving ELL students or special ed students, they've spoken out about how they might be using this, as well as in career or vocational classes. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
So let me throw this out there. It's classroominc.org, classroominc.org. If you do anything, go to the website and donate. This is a nonprofit organization that's doing some great work for reading, literacy, and leadership. And it's a really big deal. We want to thank you for coming on this show.
Thank you
I
so
hope
much
it
for
was
having me.
easygoing and fun and you had a good time. Thank you for the information you shared. I learned, and so I know our listeners will learn also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
You've been listening to a recorded conversation from EduTechGuys live coverage of FETC 2018. For more information about EduTechGuys, visit edutechguys.com. And thanks for listening.